What's going on, everyone? So, first off, let's just say there's a lot of controversy surrounding this movie. We have not only the main actress and her beliefs off screen, we have the delays from this film, the price of the movie on top of what you pay for the streaming service already. Either way, I'm here to talk about the 2020 reboot of Disney's Mulan. The film, in normal Disney fashion, has a very simplistic plot. We have a decree that got put forward that one man out of every family had to fight off these northern invaders. I think they were referred to as Rorans, which I think is some offspring of Mongolians, but I'm no historian. The only problem is, that sucks for Mulan's family because they don't have any sons, so the dad is forced to fight off these northern invaders. He goes up to take his papers and he's struggling, dude. I mean, he falls over and this guy is just beat up. He's got some battle scars. So regardless of her father wanting Mulan to just get married, find a nice man, and it's weird because, like, obviously this is what happened back in the day, but they had, like, matchmakers in town who would literally choose who you married. And in some cultures today, families are still like that. Obviously, one, Mulan is gonna choose who she marries. And two, she's not gonna let her old-ass dad fight in this war. So Mulan disguises herself as a boy and ends up joining the Imperial Army. Protect her father, defend China, and evolve into an honored warrior? Let's go. So first off, I just want to say it's been like 20 years since I've seen the original animated Mulan film. So if you guys were looking for comparisons, I'm sorry to let you down. Before this movie was even released, from the marketing, the trailers, and even comments from the director and producers, a lot of people knew this was going to be a more serious take on the Mulan tale. They were going to try to respect the original ballad of Mulan from ancient China. And I'm all for that because a lot of these remakes just do the same exact damn thing as the original animated film did. And I even saw this was about to be rated PG-13. I was just like, alright, I want to see some badass fight sequences and maybe even a little dark stuff happening in a Disney film. Cool. We established the general setup, and me as a viewer, my expectations were high. I knew there wasn't going to be any Mushu, any singing. I was like, alright, finally, Disney is going to get serious. They're going to get badass, and I'm expecting some witty humor here or there. And did this movie deliver? Sort of. So, as far as the cartoony aspect, I feel like this movie didn't exactly know what they wanted to be. If that makes any sense to you guys. Like, I'm all for stylized violence, action, fight choreography, that's fine. But if this movie is doing a more serious approach, the villain, Bori Khan, I mean, he can run up walls and stuff like that, like Prince of Persia style stuff that defies gravity. And I understand he was assisted with this dark magic from a witch. So I kind of gave that a pass. They explained it slightly in the film that they had an advantage like that. But there's certain scenes where Mulan is jumping through the air and she's doing like flying kicks and kicking spears for her and stuff like that. Like, it's a little hokey, but still, I can let that slide. But there's another scene where she like does a flying backflip and kicks an arrow in the middle of the air and it goes with so much force into an enemy. I'm like, come on now, for real. And there's another scene where she's running on the wall, and I understand a little 1, 2, 3 step to just like springboard off of the wall or something like that. But she's running for a good 10 to 15 feet on that. If you were trying to be less cartoony, in this part you failed. I hate when martial arts films do that. Like, it's fine if you embellish a little bit of the fighting and potential of humans, but I don't want to see someone coming and doing like a triple somersault or backflip through the air just to do one sword strike. And it didn't go that far, but it was definitely scratching the surface of that at some points. Mulan makes quick friends with these 3 warriors, and these guys are hilarious as hell. Po is hands down my favorite. In this scene, Mulan not only has to keep up the appearance of a man, but she has to act the part too. They're all talking about what they want their ideal woman to look like, and what they look for in a woman, and they're all giving typical male answers, and Mulan's like, I want a woman who's courageous, da, da, da. And they're all like laughing their asses off, like who cares about that, right? Liu Yifei plays Mulan, and did she do a good job? She did. So there's a lot of heart to her character, a lot of wit, humor. She's a badass female warrior. She doesn't take crap from no one. Obviously, like I said, some of her fighting and acrobatics are a little over the top, but she knows how to blend in. She's smart as hell too. I mean, this is a girl who's been kept at home all the time. But when she goes to war with these northern invaders, she's got battle strategies in her head, man. Seeing a plan she has come together is just something special when it's executed. Donnie Yen plays Commander Tung, and obviously this dude is from Ip Man, Star Wars, Rogue One, and a ton of other popular martial arts films. He didn't really stand out too much as a character. I think he's supposed to be based on the character Shang from the original Mulan movie. He's the leader of the Imperial Army, and don't get me wrong, as an Imperial leader, seeing him train all of these people and fight in battle, I mean, he does get some of the most badass fight scenes. Those are all cool. They could have gone in with more depth to the character and kind of fleshed him out a bit. It is good, though, that they focused on Mulan front and center in this movie. Maybe that's why the sub-characters weren't as interesting, to basically put Mulan on a pedestal. Jason Scott Lee as Bori Khan, there's not too much to say. I mean, he's okay. He's your typical cookie-cutter bad guy. He's ruthless. I mean, you see his men do some dark stuff in this film. They literally slaughter villages and they show bodies piled up. I can kind of see where the PG-13 rating's coming from now. Jet Li plays the Emperor of China, and again, he's just another functional character. He doesn't stand out at all. It's weird, though, because Jet Li and all the other characters speak English in this movie. Because I've seen Jet Li and Donnie Yen in other Americanized films, and their accent in this one sounded nothing like those other movies. Almost to the point where I was like reading his lips to see if someone did like vocal replacement for him or something. The CGI and action sequences were pretty well done. You definitely see the spectacle that is China in this film. From the snowy mountains to the green grasslands and the colorful home of Mulan, I mean, hats off to the visual effects artists and set designers. The action sequences, they're pretty good. I mean, I've seen a lot of other Chinese martial arts films and the fighting is a lot better in those. But since this is Disney and this is a little bit more Americanized, because obviously, come on, it's still for kids, the fighting is passable. Springboarding off that, the choreography is on point too. There's a final action sequence that takes place on a flimsy beam that's going back and forth. Seeing our characters use their skills to balance on this giant beam and fight at the same time, all while trying to protect the Emperor of China, great sequence, Disney. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's a Disney film made for kids, made for today's youth. And does it provide a good message? Of course. Mulan is a badass female warrior, and they don't go in-depth with the romance, which proves that she don't need no man. And it's not even a spoiler, like any Disney movie, she saves the day and everyone's happy at the end. The aspect of Zhan Lang, the witch, I don't really think she was necessary either, because yes, she's got a lot of power, she aids the Rorans, but she shapeshifts too, which is weird. But I guess at the end of the day, you definitely need some sort of eye-catching element to attract the younger viewers. The composer of this film, Harry Gregson Williams, he's known for his empowering scores. I mean, just listen to his music he did on Chronicles of Narnia. When Mulan's fighting, or when she's struggling to find honor for her family, and then finally towards the end, where she just builds herself up, the music builds up with her. You guys know, even if the film itself isn't really that good, if it has a memorable orchestral soundtrack, then you've got me. Overall, this movie didn't exceed my expectations, but it was still a good film. You had a good soundtrack, a decent cast, great special effects, great action sequences. Some of the fantasy elements were a bit over the top for me, and a lot of these characters could have gotten a lot more depth. It did change enough from the original to make it its own thing, but the plot could have been more engaging and have some surprises in there. There is a specific cameo at the end of this movie I think a lot of original cartoon Mulan fans will appreciate. Again, the biggest thing for me was this film struggling to find what audience it was catering to, so if it wasn't a Disney film, it would definitely be getting like a 6 or a 6.5. But the 2020 remake of Disney's Mulan, for me, gets a 7 out of 10.